to recognize today, and we needed 2 ceremonies. What a beautiful problem to have, right? So welcome to you, and if you don't mind, at this time, I would like for you to please stand and salute the flag for the playing of our national anthem. Before I say my couple of words, I'd like to recognize some esteemed guests that we have with us here today. I'd like to say thank you to Mayor McGill for his, he was able to stop by earlier today and ask me to extend warm congratulations to all of you. I'd also like to introduce to you Dr. Terry Morawski, our superintendent, Mr. Martin Mahan, our deputy superintendent. In the back, we have Dr. Jenny McDonald. She is our director of secondary education. Representing our school board, we are so pleased to have with us today Ms. Dee Blackwell. We also have with us up on the stage Coach Natalie Throneberry, who is our AP coordinator and who has put this together for you. So if you get a chance, make sure to tell her thank you. And you are going to get to hear in a few moments from Dr. David Hunton, who is our guest speaker today and will do an amazing job. When I first came here a couple of years ago, I was told, you will not believe the AP program that we have at Southside High School. Like, it's just amazing. The number of students who step up to the challenge to take this incredibly rigorous coursework. Like, you can't even begin to understand how proud we are of these students. They said, Dr. Miller, our scores came in. At that time, it was Mrs. Miller. Mrs. Miller, our scores came in right before you started, and 67% of our students had qualifying scores. And I didn't completely understand what that meant. I said, okay, well, what's normal? What do we normally see? Well, in this state, the average for qualifying scores averages around 35%. Okay? So we know that we definitely outperform the state. They said, but Dr. Miller, let me take that to the next level for you. The global average for that year was 62% of students who had qualifying scores. So what that means is of all the students who took an AP test at Southside the first year that I was here, 67% scored a 3, 4, or a 5, which meant they were eligible for college credit. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome. They said, let me even take that further for you. That includes countries like Finland, that they hold up to be the leader worldwide in academic excellence. That includes countries like China, that they hold up to be a standard of academic excellence. We outperformed the globe. And I said, that's really awesome. So all these students got college credit. And they said, absolutely. And then they said, but I want to explain this to you even a little bit more. Because as a 9th grade principal, I have not been as involved in that. They said, for a student who takes a class like BC Calculus, how many of you in here are enrolled in BC Cal? Okay. For a student who takes a class like BC Cal, a qualifying score in BC Cal doesn't give them just 3 hours of calculus credit, which is what I thought. For a student who gets a qualifying score in AP Physics 2, college credit, you can get credit for Cal 1, Cal 2, Cal 3, and Cal 4 if you get qualifying scores in certain circumstances. So I really didn't understand the magnitude of what I was being presented with. And so I became the biggest cheerleader for Southside's AP program, right? And then last March rolled around, and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, over 30% of my students are enrolled in AP courses. And when I say my students, I say mine, because you're like my children, and you guys all know that. So over 30% of my kids are enrolled in AP courses, and now they're missing the entire last quarter of instruction. What is going to happen to our AP scores? What's going to happen? But you know what happened? You guys stepped up in such a huge way. Last year, 72% of Southside students had qualifying scores. 72% of all of our scores qualified for college credit of 3 hours or more. Unbelievable how you guys stepped up in such an unbelievable situation and met those challenges. I was totally in awe of that. When the scores came in June, July, teachers are messaging me with their individual scores, and I went on the College Board website just with trepidation in my heart for you guys. And when I saw the extent of which you had overcome, I was just moved beyond words. You know, the first year I was here, some students jokingly came to me in the beginning of May, and they said, okay, Dr. Miller, it's AP season. Southside wins the state AP season. And I had to laugh because all of our seasons are critically important here. We want all of our students to be completely well-rounded. We believe in education of the whole child. So all of our athletic seasons are critically important. All of our music seasons, our marching seasons, our quiz bowl seasons, our science bowl seasons, and AP season is no different. You guys stepped up to the challenge in such a huge way. And this day today is to celebrate your accomplishments. So I'm super excited to be here with you to do this. I'm going to, at this time, introduce to you Dr. Terry Borowski. He is superintendent of our district, and he's going to say a few words. So if you would, please, a round of applause for Dr. Borowski.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. And before we get started, and I know we introduced her, but I'd like to recognize Board Secretary Dee Blackwell, who's with us here today. You can give her a round of applause as well. And the school board here really makes a lot of this happen for us. The vision that they set, the funding, everything that's in place to make the excellence happen that happens at our schools, including Southside. So couldn't do it without them, and the pay is really low for that position, like low, zero. So we appreciate the work they do. Also want to take a few minutes to talk about the reason we're here today, this incredible success of the students here at this school that are in this room and those that were in the prior session. It's quite an accomplishment. Today's honor is proof of your hard work and dedication. Be proud. Hold your head high today. Also behind every achievement is a group of people. There's teachers, there's counselors, there's school staff. Behind every student, there's family and community members. These could be parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, and friends. I encourage you to just thank them for being there for you and for encouraging you over the years, and as your school careers continue beyond here and into life, just continue to work to keep those people in your life and on the line, and there will be people that need you too. So, and I promised myself I wouldn't embarrass him, but my son Jackson is part of the crowd today, and be sure to thank your mom, because she had a lot to do with your success here today too. So. Lastly, there's a quote that I like that says that some years have questions and some years have answers. And I think last year we were all confronted with a question, especially school people and students. Could we do this? Could we overcome? Could we rise above the challenge that was put in front of us? And what I see out there today, you did. You answered the call. You really just, and you're like no other, like nothing I've ever seen or had to live through when I was in high school or college. So I applaud you. I appreciate the work you've done, and you inspire me as well as others. So continue to keep up the great work and represent Southside High School very well. Thank you.
introduce our guest speaker for you. Today, we have Dr. David Hunton. Dr. Hunton is a graduate of the University of Arkansas and the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. He has served as the Chief Medical Officer at Mercy, Fort Smith since 2012. Dr. Hunton had 2 students who graduated from Southside, his daughter, Dr. Tori Hunton Beasley, and son, John Hunton. Both of his kids were heavily involved in rigorous academics as well as many extracurricular programs and activities. Dr. Hunton also served on the Fort Smith Public Schools Board of Education from 2004 to 2017. And if that's not qualification enough to be here today to speak to you, he's also a personal friend. So at this time, I'd like you to give a warm round of applause to Dr. David Hunton.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. This is a real treat for me to be here today and to get to talk to you guys. Some of my best times occurred in this building and, of course, in Fort Smith, and I'm proud of Fort Smith. But the only member of my family who's not a Southside grad. So I live in Columbia Blue and have a couple of different times. So I really appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to you today. You guys are going to be the beneficiaries and community as well of your participation in the AP program. And I was talking with Natalie before coming here today. She told me that 67 of you qualified as AP scholars, 32 with honor, and another 35 with distinction. 8 of you have been recognized as national AP scholars. 5 obtained capstone diplomas and 2 capstone certificates. And 3 of you have been announced as national meritologist. Now, is that this year? 4. It's 4.
One graduated early.
I see.
So
That's
3 who are
okay.
graduating.
That explains the discrepancy. So, I mean, this is just awesome. I mean, I look at that. I can't tell you how important that is. And when we live in a world where people now, you know, in some ways, I've got fewer degrees than a lot of people on my team. Fortunately, I was able to grandfather in on some things, be it experience and other things. So, but I will tell you that as president of Mercy Clinic now, one of my big jobs is recruiting and visiting with young physicians. And it's a challenge for me to always relate to young people because I'm an old guy now. I don't know when it happened, but it did sometime here in the last few years. But one of the things I've always are able to utilize and to self-reflect on is the quality of our schools, and in particular the rigor and benefits of the AP program, which has been so successful, not only here but at Northside as well. So again, I was proud of my time on the school board, and I can't tell you how excited I was walking through the entrance where we come into the old gym there to see that having changed, and the changes that are taking place on campus here. It's just awesome. So again, Superintendent, one of the big selling points down there. Okay. Truly is the quality of our schools, and I never hesitate to use that as one of our selling points. Candidates to come to work on my team. So since John graduated in 2013, you seniors were in the 4th grade at that time, and you may or may not remember John. He was a big, tall guy and a pretty good tight end. I grew up in Central Arkansas. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about myself because this has already done so, but suffice it to say, our preparation for college was not nearly as good as what you guys did. Most of us took the ACT or the SAT once, took the MedCap once. Fortunately, I did all that in med school. But the preparation for things is much better than it was. But at the same time, competition for those slots is much more severe than it was as well. My wife Terry was a Southside grad and a student body president, and she truly believes Columbia Blue still to this day. I made a mistake when we went to Fort Smith, and this is a visual work for speech 1, of taking out an ad in the Northside program, being Fort Smith and not having been up here. I didn't realize the problems that would cause the angst that she experienced to see her name as Go Grizzlies in the program. It created some problems. So Terry and I both worked together for quite a time, and I enjoyed working with her. She was a great anesthesiologist, but when Tori was little, Sometimes she'd get upset when her mother wasn't there and Dad was having to take care of her. And I can remember one evening in particular, she wouldn't quit crying. I had to take her up to room 3 in the OR at Mercy to get her to stop crying when she saw her mother. So both she and John both spent a lot of time in the doctor's lounge waiting for us to get finished, one or the other. Ate a lot of ice cream, drank a lot of soda up there, and frequently made rounds with us. So I guess that instilled their desire to become physicians. So Corey now is a PM&R doctor at AAIMS in Dallas and Little Rock, and John, after graduating from Columbia, finished his master's in healthcare at AAIMS. So he's got a master's degree already, and he's in the second year of medical school. And one of the things, without question, that helped prepare them for the rigor of going to med school, professional school, and undergraduate courses was their training and that they had in the AP courses here at Southside and the rigor that was associated with that. Natalie, Ms. Thornberry, was also teammates with Corey actually, Natalie was a senior, Corey was a sophomore on that team, but they won a state championship, which Southside, as you know, has several of those. So you guys are the best and the brightest of Fort Smith and what Southside has to offer. You've chosen to take a rigorous course of study by not only participating, but truly excelling with what I hear today in the AP curriculum. So moving on, I want to touch on 3 things today that I think are important as we continue to try to have success in today's world. And these are embracing change, and the importance of academic rigor, and resilience. I think it's important that we recognize embracing change. If we look at this year we've had to deal with COVID, all of us have been exposed to things I don't think we ever thought we would see. I remember reading about the Spanish flu in 1918 in med school, and we all thought that was terrible, and then they all liked it. And you know, you don't really fully appreciate that until you see a pandemic live in the flesh, which we've all had to do. And I'm so happy that we've been resilient as a community in dealing with that. But the rate of change of knowledge has really accelerated. It said back in 1900 that human knowledge doubled every 100 years. By 1945, supposedly every 25 years. And again, by 1980, doubling every 12 months. Well, you can imagine, when I look back at how different things are now from 1982, there's been more change since 82, when you think about it, than there was in the previous part of the century. So most of us don't like change. We resist it, we complain about it, and some of us ultimately resign ourselves to it, but we do so reluctantly. And when I think about all the changes that COVID has produced in the medical field and across our society as well, people working from home, video visits, we were doing very few video visits for patients before COVID. At one point, we were doing half of our visits weren't face-to-face, they were video visits with folks. And you guys have had experience with virtual education. The meetings I go to all around the ministry, most of the time those are Zoom meetings or WebEx meetings, so it's all changed. And this was really important early on in COVID because none of us knew really what to do. None of us knew the infectivity of us. We didn't know exactly how to deal with it, and we certainly didn't have enough PPE to protect ourselves and our patients from that. So lots of change has happened with that. Not only that, but there's other things that are going to be for the good that happened with COVID, and that's the use of artificial intelligence, electronic medical records, and particularly precision medicine, where we're looking at genomes and tailoring treatments both for malignancy and infectious disease based on what your DNA material looks like. So an example of that, really, when you think about it, is the vaccine that's been made available. The technology on mRNA vaccines has been coming on for 20 or 30 years, but look at the speed with which that was able to be released when something happened that precipitated a true need for that, as well as cutting through all that governmental red tape sometimes that you have to do. So change is with us. It's going to continue to accelerate. The amount of knowledge that we see continues to increase, and you guys have got to get prepared for it. So embrace change, look forward to it, prepare yourselves, and get ready, because it's just going to get more competitive as we go on. When I was a kid, I was telling this group, one of my heroes was John F. Kennedy, and I hope that you've had the chance to see him speak on YouTube or whatever, or on TV, in the news, because they're still showing him a lot. But he was the epitome of cool. He and his wife probably made sunglasses what they are today. amongst other things, but he was a great speaker, a truly great speaker, and one of his best speeches, I think, was given down in Houston in 1962. We were engaged in the big space race, as well as a survival race with the Soviet Union at that time, and this is from his speech. He said, "Why say the moon? Why choose this as our goal? They may ask, why climb the highest mountain?" Then he said, and this is the key of this, why does Rice play Texas? Why does Rice play Texas? Well, Rice, when we were in Southwest Conference, Arkansas, that is, they were not one of the better teams, and they lost to Texas most of the time. So the significance of that is Rice plays Texas because it's hard. It's hard. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and not do other things because they're easy, but because they're hard. And in similar fashion, you guys have picked AP courses and excelled in those because they're hard and they challenge you to do your best. AP courses build academic discipline and stimulate the desire in you to be a lifetime learner. I like what Burger King CEO Daniel Schwartz has to say about rigor and hard work, and this is a good one. You have to work really, really hard to put yourself in position to get lucky. Because a lot of people go, oh, I was lucky, or he was lucky, this and that. But luck is precipitated by hard work, and it's frequently a byproduct of that. The third thing I want you to remember today, if you can, is that concept of resilience. And I'm going to use two different authors to illustrate that topic. You know, one of my favorite authors is Pat Conroy, and you may not be familiar with him. He wrote The Prince of Tides, Great Santini, Beach Music, and My Losing Season. You may have seen the movie Prince of Tides. Barbra Streisand was in that along with Dick Nolte, and Nolte got an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor in it. But the book that I'm referring to, My Losing Season, was written about his experience at the Citadel and the trials and tribulations that he had there. He played basketball on that varsity team. It wasn't really good. The team was terrible. They had a losing season, and that was precipitated the title of the book. And the point that was made, that I came away with from that book, is that in many respects, we learn more from losing than we do from winning. We learn more from losing than we do from winning. So learning to deal with adversity and developing resilience are certainly essential to overcome what she had gone to school at Exeter, and it was pretty good little college. It's nonetheless in the top ones over there. But despite that, 7 years afterwards, she had had all sorts of things happen to her. Her mother had died from multiple sclerosis. She had a miscarriage. Her marriage had failed, and she was jobless with a dependent child. She completed her first book while she was on welfare from the English government. She submitted that book to 12 different publishing houses, all of whom rejected the book. But ultimately, she found a publisher who allowed his daughter to read the first chapter. She really liked it. So he agreed to publish the book, but it wasn't until after he had told him, don't quit your day job. You sometimes hear those things. So you know the rest of the story. She's the first billionaire writer. The Harry Potter brand is worth $15 billion. And here's what she has to say about resilience. It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail a default. Gosh, that's true. So, in summary, embrace change. Be prepared. Get ready for it. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. Be a part of it and accelerate it. Challenge yourself with academic rigor and be a lifetime learner. And finally, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take chances. Be resilient, because so many times the world is full of success stories where people initially failed and went on to do great things. So thank you again very much for allowing me to come talk to you today. It's a real thrill for me to get to this.
Thank you so much, Dr. We really appreciate you being here. Great words of wisdom. We're super incredibly proud of all that you've done, and to say that you have embraced change, that you have been resilient, that is an understatement for sure. At this time, it's the time you've all been waiting for. We're getting ready to recognize student achievement, which is super exciting to me. We are going to do the following. I've got several different groups, several different levels of achievement, and when I call your name, what I'm going to ask you to do is stand and remain standing. At the end, we will applaud for students. After we finish today, you're gonna go out and you'll get your swag, which is always exciting. My AP scholars will get medals that are on red ribbons, and it will say on there how many tests you took. My AP Students of Excellence, you have Columbia blue ribbons. Several of you have earned capstone diplomas, and you know if you have a capstone diploma, you wear a different colored tassel. You'll have a red tassel at graduation. Those we will hold and give to you on graduation day at the same time we give out honors tassels. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're aware of that. We also have yard signs for you. I hope that you'll take them home and put them in your yard. There's nothing more fun for me than to drive through Fort Smith after we've had the AP assembly and see all of your yard signs out and be able to see how proud we are of our students who have worked so hard. So at this time, I'm going to recognize our first category. The first category we have is before I do that, I do want to recognize, especially for parents who are watching this on live stream, and you guys know that last year's senior class as well took AP tests and should be included in this celebration. So from the senior class of 2020, we have the following statistics. We have 2 students that would have earned capstone diplomas. We have an additional student who earned a capstone certificate. We have 35 of last year's class who qualified as AP scholars. We have 17 students who qualified for AP scholars with honors. We had 26 AP scholars with distinction and 7 national AP scholars. So I wanted to start there because we, in addition, have a national AP scholar that we will recognize. Okay, so Horace Reyna was our national AP scholar. In addition, we have this next group. These are AP scholars with distinction. These are students who had an average score of a 3.5 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 5 or more exams. So if these students are here with us, if you would please stand and remain standing. Jackson Minnick, Alexander Rahal, Horace Reyna, Kale Sheets, Nabilia Sidqui, and Anna Claire Tilley. Congratulations. Okay, this next group of students are AP scholars with honor. These are students who had average scores of a 3.25 on all AP exams taken and scores of 3 or higher on 4 or more exams. Maddie McClellan, Tivon Satang, Megan Taylor, and Catherine Wooten. Congratulations. And I apologize in advance if I'm saying some of your names incorrectly. You know, we have these meetings like in late April to make sure I say them all correctly for graduation. But if I mess one of them up, make sure you catch me before graduation, okay? This next group of students are AP scholars. This is a large group. These are students who received a 3 or higher on 3 or more AP exams. So please stand and remain standing. Dylan Metter, Jackson Messenger, Elijah Miller, Jackson Morawski, Victor Wynn, Clarissa Oakes, Sally Olson, Lauren Ruffley, Lane Simon, Sarah Sewell, Jay Shaw, Cole Smith, Rand St. Germain, Aditya Tagarsi, Paul Teresina, Phoenix Vu, and Hunter Wilborn. Congratulations. The following students have earned capstone diplomas. That means you have completed the capstone courses, AP Seminar and AP Research, and scored a 3, 4, or 5 on those tests, and passed an additional 4 AP exams with a 3, 4, or a 5. So if you would please stand and remain standing. Alexander Rahal, Horace Reyna, and Anna Claire Tilley. In addition, we have a student who qualified for a capstone certificate, which means you have completed the capstone courses AP Seminar and AP Research with a 3, 4, or 5. That may move forward this year's AP exams, and that is Sarah Sewell. Is Sarah here with us? All right. This next group of students, honest to gosh, y'all, 3 pages. So I could not be prouder of my next group of students. These are students that are AP Students of Excellence. They earned a 3, 4, or a 5, earning college credit on any AP exams. So at this time, I'm going to start with these names. If you would please stand and remain standing. Luke Medlin, Joshua Morrell, Jackson Miller, Bethany Mills, Ashton Mobley, Christian Morales, Madison Nading, Kylie Nading, Alexander Nagley, Annie Nelligan, Maybe Jessica Wynn, Tina Wynn, Wynn, Jonathan Nix, Condra Nixon, Rachel Nunez, Isabel Nuno, Addison Obana, Aaliyah Oliver, Hannah Owens, Josh Pack, Emma Paulus, Kayla I'm so sorry, honey. Finfabi, I hope I said that right. If not, catch me before graduation. Zane Reyna, Lauren Redding, Sarah Reeby, Sophia Reyes, Lance Rapini, Efrizi Romero, Tobin Ross, David Rotary, Kate Ryan, Moses Santos, Caitlin Sider, Matthew Syntho, Callie Shannon, Irby Sharma, Pierre Simonian, Dalton Smith, Christian Smitherman, Amelia Stout, Isaac Tenney, Haley Thames, Brevin Tidwell, Andrew Ton, Robinson Tran, Brittany Tran, Cindy Tran, Kyle Tran, Isaac Tunches, Jackson Oots, Kyle Vega, Braxton Waller, Trace Watkins, Griffin Wendell, Rafe Wilhite, Ashton Wilhite, Rainier Williams, Jaden Williams, Maylee Wolf, Nevin Segbanza, and Yinhao Yu. What a crew. Congratulations, guys. Thank you so much. The last group that I would like to recognize today, you guys know that when you are sophomores, you take a test called the PSAT. And the PSAT serves several purposes. One of those is to prepare you for the SAT. One of those is it gives us AP potential reports, and we use those to meet with you and talk to you about AP courses that we would love to see you take your junior and senior years. The junior year, the PSAT is optional, and it serves the purpose of being the National Merit Qualifying Exam. And this year, we had 4 students who were named National Merit Semifinalists. Those students were J.C. Clayton, Jackson Hannon, Jackson Minnick, and Harris Reyna. And after they're named as National Merit Semifinalists, they then go on to take some additional exams. They take an SAT or an ACT to make sure that qualifying score stands. They turn in some transcripts as well as letters of recommendation. And we go through the process to see if they are named National Merit Finalists. National Merit Finalists rank among the 1% of students across the country. And in this assembly that we have today, we would like to recognize Harris Reyna, who I believe we saw Horace isn't here, but I do believe we have with us Jackson Minnick. And so if Jackson would please come forward to receive this certificate. Jack, are you here? Awesome, come on up, man. Let's have a round of applause for you. Normally I would shake your hand, so today I guess I'm going to bump your elbow, okay? You ready? All right, congratulations. Super proud of you. Southside is so proud of the work of all of you. We have the highest number of National Merit finalists in the River Valley, and we have for several years now, and we're incredibly proud of that. But I want to read something on here in closing. It says, for our National Merit finalists, it program of 2021 by demonstrating through distinguished performance high potential for future academic accomplishment. All of you in this room have demonstrated through distinguished performance high potential for current and future academic accomplishment. When Mayor McGill was here this morning, he kept saying, next year, bring a friend. For those of you who are sophomores and juniors, have you signed up for AP classes? I know some of you have been nervous with the year that we've had this year about moving forward and taking those really high levels of academic rigor. Don't be frightened. Grab a friend. Let's continue this proud tradition that we have. Let's go forward and make sure that we take rigorous coursework and we show resilience and perseverance. And let's be next year in even a larger venue than this with all of us together in a post-COVID world to recognize your achievement. Seniors, I want to be able to read even better numbers about the work that you do this year with your AP exams. And I want you to come back and tell me about your distinguished levels of academic achievement and whatever your post-secondary choices may be.